Hope screen is shared to all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Let us move towards the next concept in embedded system. It is about sensors. Sensor is a transducer device that converts energy from one form to another for any measurement or control purpose. So as we discussed in the previous session, the elements of embedded system, the elements of embedded system have input ports, output ports, and system core, where the controller or a processor will be available, and memory. Then we had user interfaces and other subsystems will be connected to that system core. So these sensors are come under the input port devices. So these sensors are going to act as a input device to this embedded system. So this sensor, what this sensor? A sensor is a transducer which is going to convert one energy to another energy for what? For measurement, or it may be for controlling purpose. So what we are going to control? So the controls are nothing but what? Here are the output devices. So what are these output devices? So output devices are labeled as actuators. So actuator is a form of transducer. Once again, it is a transducer device. It may be mechanical or a electrical, which converts signals to corresponding physical action or a motion. So actuators act as an output device. So obviously it is an output device, means which is going to change its state, which is going to change its physical behavior based on the data sent by this processor or a controller or an embedded system. The embedded mechanism is going to change the state of devices. Okay, that is actuators which are connected at the output ports. So the embedded system, it has input ports, output ports, and the processor. So the processor is going to receive the data from input ports. Those are nothing but sensors, and it is going to perform some task. It is going to execute the task. It is going to calculate, and it is going to what? It is going to send that results at the output side. So output ports are going to be connected with actuators, which are going to once again act as a transducer, which are nothing but what? Transducers and nothing but energy converters. So these actuators are going to convert a signal into a physical action or change in the state of behavior. Okay. One of the example for communication we are going to use it is optocoupler. So here it is just a definition we are going to discuss. So in the future model, we are going to discuss more about these sensors and actuators. Okay, it is only discussion part, introduction part in this model. So go for optocoupler. So optocoupler you have studied in your previous semesters, which is nothing but what? It is a solid state device to isolate, to transfer two parts or to connect. Isolate nothing but to connect two parts of a circuit. So optocoupler combines an LED and a photo transistor in a single housing package. So you can observe in the diagram, here it has an LED at the source side, and it has a photo transistor at the receiver side. So it is, these two devices are packed in a single package, single panel. So here, what is going to happen? As we know, LED is going to emit the light, where the phototransistor is going to receive the light. So the data will be communicated, means the two parts of the circuit are connected through this optocoupler, a wireless communication. Wireless communication, that too with the photo method. photo method. Means light will be whatever the signal is given to this LED, means the voltage, it will be converted into light, and at the receiver side, light is going to be converted into electrical energy. Okay, so we know more about these LEDs and photo transistor in the previous semester. So we are not going to spend much time on this device. So in electronic circuits, an optocoupler is used for suppressing interference in data communication and circuit isolation and other purposes. So optocouplers can be used in either input circuits or in output circuits. So optocouplers may be used wherever we need isolation between two parts, where we need to send the data through wireless, that too with the photo concept. So it may be used in input side or output side. Then comes the last concept in this model number 1. It is a communication interface. Communication interface is essential for communicating with various subsystems of the embedded system and with the external world. So what this communication interface? It is essential for communicating with various subsystems. Not only the system, embedded system what we have designed. Obviously, this embedded system, a unique device, it is have the facility to communicate with the external world. Okay, not only external world, with subsystems of this embedded system. So how it will be communicating with the subsystems and external world? So it has two types. One is onboard communication interface. So what is this onboard communication interface? Nothing but what? The communication channel. The communication channel which interconnects the various components within an embedded product is referred as a device or a board level communication interface. Device or board level communication interface. That is onboard communication interface. For an example, if you want, onboard nothing but the connection of the various components within the device, inside the device. It is called as onboard communication interface. Example is I2C bus. I2C bus means the communication channel. Obviously, it is known within the device. It is as bus. So I2C bus, and another one is the SPI bus. So we have the brief introduction about these communication interfaces, these buses. Next, another type, it is about external communication interface. One of the example is LAN or a Bluetooth or a infrared bus, infrared communication channel, Wi-Fi, wireless LAN, or Wi-Fi. Okay, so these are the example of this external communication. Means the product level communication interface is responsible for data transfer between the embedded system and other devices or modules externally. So how this embedded system is going to communicate with the external world, not inside world, external world. So that communication channel, that communication path or communication interface is called as external communication interface. How it is going to communicate with external world. It is also known as product level communication interface. Product level communication interface. Example we are going to find it is infrared, where the TV remotes are going to use, or some other devices are going to use. The major where we are going to observe it is infrared. It is TV remote, television remote. Then it is the Bluetooth. Nowadays we are familiar with the Bluetooth. It comes under the communication, which is category of external communication. A Wi-Fi, we are too much familiar with this concept also. It is a Wi-Fi, which is going to act as an external communication interface. Then, as I said, we are going to discuss about each bus. So here it is a integrated circuit bus, and it is known as I2C bus. Sometimes it is known as I2C bus also. I2C, I2C, or integrated circuit bus. What this bus is? This bus is a synchronous bidirectional half duplex 2-wire serial interface bus. Means it is going to synchronous continuously. Means what? It is going to work on a clock synchronously, and it is going to use bidirectional buses and half duplex. Means only one side communication will be there for each clock, not a two-way. Only one direction, means half duplex, but where one device is communicating, another device will be kept quiet. Okay, and bidirectional, but the same single bus is used for sending and receiving the data, and it is a 2-wire serial interface bus. So what are the 2 wires? If you observe, the diagram for this I2C bus will be represented like this. So it has the 2 buses. One is known as STA and another one is known as SCL. SCA and SCL are the 2 wires used for this design of I2C or I2C bus. And here the devices which are going to be connected to this bus are considered as master or slave. Master or slave. So here this bus is going to use only one master and multiple slaves. One master and multiple slaves, as you are going to observe in the diagram. Here the STA line. If we go into STA line, let us go for what is this SCL line. So SCL line is responsible for generating synchronization clock pulses. There are 2 wires which are used to design one I2C bus. Here it is SCL and SDA. Serial clock. Serial or serial clock. It is responsible for generating synchronization clock pulses. Nothing but when the system is going to start working using this bus, the communication is going to have the clock. So that clock will be initiated in SCL line. Then STA line is responsible for transmitting the serial data across device. Means suppose in the diagram, as we are going to observe, the master is there and 2 slaves are available, slave 1 and slave 2. So these are the elements of embedded system. So master is nothing but what? It is the core system core, that is the microprocessor, the CPU, the main part of this embedded system. And it is also embedded system is having some more elements, that is the memory, you may say, or other IO devices we are going to connect it with this embedded system. So if you want to have a communication between one part of the embedded system to another part, okay, one part to another part. Here in the example they are showing master is communicating. Master is nothing but a microprocessor or a controller. It is communicating with slave 1, that is a serial EEPROM, that is a memory. Okay, it is going to communicate with memory. Then it is going to communicate with some more element. Okay, that is another element, that is the I2C device, slave 2. It may be memory or it may be IO device or it may be anything. So how they are going to connect each other? They are obviously we are going to use wires. How which wire, how they are designed. Based on that one, we have varieties of buses. So one of the example what we are going to use it is the internal bus, that is integrated circuit bus. It has 2 lines SCL, where the communication is going to be happen with the help of these clock signals, and STA used for sending or receiving the data packets. So devices connected to the I2C bus can act as either master device or a slave device. So SCL is generated by the master device only. So SCL is nothing but a clock signal where the continuous clock will be there. So for each clock, the data will be transmitted. Clock number 1, data is sent, packet 1 is sent. Clock number 2, packet 2 is sent. And it is going to be have a communication using this SCL concept. And this clock signal, serial clock signal, is always generated by this master device only. Slave can't generate any clock signal for any communication purpose. Okay, means master have the control over this I2C bus. The sequence of operation for communicating with slave device is A. How the communication is going to happen between two components of this embedded system. The two components are nothing but the one is master, another one is slave. So here the master device pulls SCL bus. Master device generates, pulls SCL bus to high and STA bus to low to start communication. So whenever a master wants to communicate with any slave, what it is going to do? It is going to make SCL line, only two lines are there. One is SCL, another one is STA. SCL line will be high and STA will be low. High state and low state signals will be generated by the master for the ignition of this communication, the start of this communication. Then, now it wants to communicate with the one slave. How it is going to work? The master sends a 7-bit or 10-bit wide address. Obviously, when we have a various components connected each other through bus architecture, so each device has its own address. Okay, master it has its own address. Slave, varieties of slave, each component has its own address. Okay, so the address may be of 7-bit or it may be of 10-bit based on the size of this embedded system. So how many components we are going to interface or integrate to make one device. Okay, so it is a 7-bit or a 10-bit wide address will be sent on which line? Obviously on STA line. Only data packets. The data may be any type. Data may be any type. Data may be an address or data may be a request. Data may be an acknowledgement or data may be anything. All these categories, various levels or various data operations should be done on only data line itself. Serial data line, STA line itself. The SCL line is only for clocks, timing signals. For each clock, the work will be executed by this device, these devices. So the master is going to send address of a slave to which it wants to communicate over the STA line, followed by what? Read or write bit. So suppose if it is a 7-bit address, so the overall data sent by this master, it is 8 bits. So 7 bits are addressed. 1 bit is for what action it want to do with that slave. Read operation or write operation. So bit value, if it is 1, means the 8th bit. 8th bit is 1, then it is read operation. If 8th bit is 0, then it is write operation with respect to that slave. Clear? So what is the phenomena? How the master is going to ignite the, or how it is going to contact a slave among so many slaves. So slave will be have an address. That address will be loaded on this SDA line of 7 bits as an example, or it may be a 10 bit. So overall, the packet size is of what? 7 bit plus 1 bit, or 10 bit plus 1 bit. What is that plus 1? So plus 1 is nothing but action. What is that action? It may be read action or write action. If bit value of that extra 1 bit, if it is 1, then it is read with the slave. If it is 0, it is write with the slave. Then what is going to happen? So in the 2 steps, what we have got, first thing is the clock will be generated by the master by making high state, and serial data bus will be in the low state. It is nothing but what? The system is ready. The master is ready to communicate with any slave, any one slave. Then which slave? It is by sending a 7 or 10 bit wide data address plus extra 1 bit on this STA line. So next, master waits for, in the third option, communication sequence, it is a master waits for acknowledgement bit from the slave. Now action is already done by this master. Address is sent on the STA with the read and write operation. Then it is going to wait for acknowledgement. There are so many slaves, slave 1, slave 2, slave 3, and so on. So which slave it wants to communicate, it is already available in the address line. So each slave is going to do what? Compare that address. So the fourth sequence is what? Slave devices compares the address received with the address assigned to them. So they are going comparing. Each slave is going to compare the data available in the STA line. They are just communicating. So the respective slave. The fifth point is what? The respective slave device responds by sending an acknowledgement. Obviously, if a slave 1 has the, there is a match with the address sent by the master. So address is matching, means master wants to communicate with slave 1. So what is the responsibility of the slave 1 now? It has to acknowledge. It has to acknowledge by sending a bit. So that bit will be 1. Only on the STA line itself. So STA line is purely for what? Data communication, data may be anything. It may be acknowledgement, it may be address, or it may be data, or it may be control signal, or it may be anything. Okay. So the slave is now send high signal or value 1 to this SDA line. So what is happening here? Up to 5 points, 5 sequences. First, master means SDA high, SDA low. Means it is beginning of the communication. Then master sends a set of bits as an address with control bit, read and write bit. Then master wait for the acknowledgement. Then each slave is going to compare that address, the address which is matching with the slave that has the responsibility to acknowledge by sending a bit value 1 on the STA line. Then means what? After receiving the acknowledgement, it is nothing but what? Master is ready to perform some task, slave is ready to do that task, whatever the action done by this master. Then later master device sends or receives 8-bit data to or from the slave device over the STA line itself. Means obviously after receiving the acknowledgement, immediately the master is going to send or receive the 8-bit data. 8-bit data will be sent or received by this master. Means the communication is going to happen between master and slave over the SDA line of bit size only 8-bit. Only 8-bit data will be transferred between master and slave. Okay. Then the master device waits for the acknowledgement bit from the device upon byte transfer complete. Once again, it is going to wait for the master. Means what? So if the operation is read mode or the write mode based on the action, it has to wait for the acknowledgement. So it is waiting for the acknowledgement that master, if it is read the data from the slave, it is going to send the acknowledgement that yes, I have read. Then what about if it is read? It is write. Then after writing the data in the slave has to send the data. Yes, I have received the data as an acknowledgement. So master waits for the acknowledgement bit from the device upon byte transfer complete and sends an acknowledgement bit to the slave for read operation. If it is read operation, master is going to send the acknowledgement. If it is write operation, it is going to wait for the acknowledgement from the slave. See the beauty of this communication between two components within the embedded system, how they are communicating using a two-wire line. And master terminates communication. Okay, after receiving the acknowledgement that yes, the read is over, write is over, communication is over. So the termination of this communication is handed over by the master itself. So master puts the STL line to high and SCL line to high to indicate yes, it is the end of the communication. Both STA and SCL lines are made high by the master to end the task of communication. Okay, so this one is the brief introduction about I2C bus. So this one is the block diagram, the circuit diagram of this I2C bus, where it is going to use two lines, SCL and SDA. SCL is for only clock pulses, SDA is for transferring the data. Data may be of type acknowledgement or 8-bit data for read and write operation, or it may be an action, or it may be an address it has. Okay. So this one is the master with the slaves. Then we have serial peripheral interface, SPI bus. Serial peripheral interface bus, and whatever the bus architecture we are discussing, these are within the embedded system, internal, not external. Okay, on board, not off board. Okay, on board communication interface. So serial peripheral interface, it is also another type of bus architecture what we are going to find in the embedded system. So SPI is synchronous, obviously, as compared to this I2C bus, it is also synchronous, means on each clock action will be done between, the communication is going to happen between master and slave. Then it is a bidirectional one, means the single bus, the same bus is used for transmitting and receiving the data. Then full duplex, nothing but what? At the same time, it is going to perform transmission as well as receiving. Half duplex, nothing but only one task will be done. It may be transmitting or it may be receiving. And it is a 4-wire serial interface bus. Here the size of the wires are increased to 4. In I2C it is only 2 wire, it is now 4 wires. Obviously full duplex, nothing but what? At the same time you need to perform both the tasks, reading and writing, from the same clock pulse. Obviously we need extra bus architecture. So it is supported by this SPI bus. SPI is a single master multi-slave system. Only one master and multiple slaves will be available. Then it requires 4 signal lines for communication. As we are going to use the 4 wires, obviously it is a 4 signals lines are used for communication. So what are those 4 communication lines? The first line is master out, slave in. Master out, slave in, MOSI. Signal line, the responsibility of this line is for signal line carrying the data from master to slave. There is a separate bus for sending the data from master to slave, which is known as slave input, SI, or slave data in. Because whatever the data it is sending, who is receiving? It is a slave is receiving. So this line is going to act as an input line for this slave. And the same line is going to act as the output line for this master. So master output line is going to act as a slave input line, which is used for only sending the data from master to slave. Okay, only one direction. only one direction data will be sent. Okay, the same line is not used for sending the data in reverse from slave to master. Okay, from slave to master, it is going to use another wire. That line is called as master in, slave out. Obviously, if a slave is sending data, so that line is going to act as the output line. If master is receiving the data, the line is going to act as the input line. So master in, slave out, signal line carrying the data from slave to master. So it is also known as a slave output, SO, or slave data out, STO, slave data out or slave out. So two wires. You got two wires for data communication between separately master to slave, slave to master. Then we need the data communication. It is a synchronous. Obviously, we need a clock pulse. It is called as SCLK. SCLK. Serial clock, signal line carrying the clock signals, as we observed in the I2C bus. And slave select. Slave select. This is the signal line for slave device to select. So what is going to happen in the previous concept in I2C bus? The address will be sent on the STA line. Address will be sent on STA line. But here we have a separate wire for that selection of each slave. That is slave select, that is SS. Okay. The serial data transmission through SPI bus is fully configurable. Means we obviously we are going to configure the SS line, that is the slave selection line, by making that line as low signal. Then we are going to use serial and master slave, master in, slave out, and master out, slave in lines. Then SPI devices contain a certain set of registers for holding these configurations. So it's going to use with this bus uses a register set for holding the configuration details. This one is the architecture of this SPI bus. So as we have master and a slave. Master may be any element which want to act as a master. Then slave, it may be any device which is going to act as a slave within that embedded system. So each master slave is having the 4 wires, slave in, slave out, and SCL and slave select. Then what about master? Master is having the master in, same, the MISO, MOSI, and SCL clock, and the slave selection lines. Slave selection lines. You can observe the lines MISO, SCL clock, and MOSI, master out, slave in, slave out, clock signal, and for each slave there is a separate line. So whenever the master want to communicate with any particular slave, it is going to make that particular line as low, that is 0, and remaining lines of each slave will be high. Okay, so by indicating this SS1 and SS2, that is slave selection 1, slave selection 2, that slave selection 1 is low, nothing but master want to communicate with this slave 1. If this slave 1 line is 1 and slave 2 line is 0, this indicates master want to communicate with this slave 2. Okay, so this is the phenomena, means the configuration which is used in this SPI bus. For storing this data, it is going to use registers. Okay. So this one is the today's concept what we had. It is the communication interface, the onboard communication, and external communication. Then we had I2C bus onboard communication interface, one of the example, which is going to use 2 wires, and here the devices are going to use this bus are going to act as a master or slave. One master, multiple slave. How the I2C bus is going to work? It is have a sequence of operations. Then we had discussion about SPI bus as a 4-wire bus. Okay. The devices which are going to connected to this bus are going to act as a master and slave, only one master and multiple slaves. And for communication, they are going to use 4 wires, and those are called as master out, slave in, master in, slave out, slave selection, and serial clock. And we have the architecture of this bus. So in the next class, we deal with some more communication interfaces. Example of the external communication interfaces. So for internal, we have only 2 discussions. In the external, we are going to talk about infrared. We are going to talk about the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and another one comes, it is Zigbee. Okay, these are the 4 external communications, what the bus architecture, the communication channels, what we have with respect to this embedded system. We will discuss those things in the next class.